Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. In this video, we will revise chapter 10, which is fractions and decimals. We will be doing the division on two parts. The first part, we will discuss the fractions and the decimals, and in the second part, we will discuss the coins and the money. Okay, so make sure to revise or to watch both videos and to leave me a comment and like, please, on Classlight. Let's begin. First thing, let's discuss the place value. Here I have a regular number, 512. If you can see, the number 5 is of course on the hundreds place, the number 1 is in the tens place, and the number 2 is on the ones place. Well, what happened when I have parts of numbers, like numbers less than 1, fractions, parts of a number? These very small numbers, we call them decimal numbers, okay? Now, how can I write these numbers? For example, if I have 2 parts out of 10, how can I write such number? You need or you should write that after the ones. You see the ones, this is the ones. We know that this is the smallest number. No, actually there is a smaller than the ones. Here we should add a point that we call it a decimal point. Okay, so what do we call this point? We call it decimal point. And after that, I will be add my very small numbers, okay, the parts of the 10 and the parts of the hundreds. So the number or the place here that comes directly after the decimal point, we call it the tenths. So 10, then we add the th sound, after that s. So this is the tenths place. And after the tenths place, we have the hundredths place. So this is the hundredths place. Okay, now how can I write the numbers in the tenths and in the hundredths place? I told you this example. For example, if I have 2 over 10, I will be writing that as 0.2, which means that the number 2 is in the tenths place. So this means that this number, I will be move it to this place. So it is in that place, which is the tenths, so I will be adding it here. What about if I have also a part of 100? For example, if I have, let's say, 3 over 100. So this number, I can write it as 0.03 because this is 3 parts out of 100. So this means that I will be adding that number on the hundredths place. So this is the hundredths place. There is nothing on the tens, so I just leave it as a 0. So in here, this is the same place, which is the hundredths place. So I will be adding it in here. So this is how I write numbers with decimal numbers, and in general I call all of that number, all of it from 512.23, I call it as decimal number. So whenever you have the decimal point and you have numbers after that, you will call all of that number a decimal number. Okay? Now let's take some examples and see how can we solve problems for fractions and decimal numbers. For example, here I have this line. I knew that this line has 10 parts. To check, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? Now how many shaded parts I have on that shape? I have 1, 2, 3. So I have here 3 parts that are shaded out of the 10 parts. Now I need to write that as a decimal number, so I will put this 3 on the tenths place, so it's going to be 0.3, like that. Now how can I read this number? I can call it a 0.3. I can also call it 3 out of 10, which is that 3 out of 10, and I can also call it 3 tenths. So what's the 3 tenths? This is a 3 tenths because I have 3 out of 10 parts. Now let's try to do the other one. If you can see here, I have 2 lines. One of them is all shaded And if you remember, we discussed that before. When I have the shape that is all shaded, for example, here I have 10 shaded parts out of 10, this number is directly 1. Even it was 2 out of 2, 3 out of 3, 5 out of 5, all of these are always 1. So this is a one whole number. What about the other one, this fraction? Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 parts out of 10. So let's write that as a decimal. This is a 0.6, like that. But now I have both of them. I have the 0.6 and I have the 1. If you can see, the 1 is a whole number, so I must add that on the ones place. Now let's take a look at that number. Where is the ones place? Of course, the ones place is that one. So I must add the 1 in here because it is a whole number. It is in the ones place. So all of these two lines, both of them together, they will give me a 1.6. 1 because of the shaded line that all of it is shaded, and the 0.6 is because of these 6 shaded parts out of 10. So this is how I write that when I have a whole numbers like the 1. For example, if I have 2 shaded lines, all of them, you're gonna say 2 and so on, okay? Now let's do the last one. Here I have only one shaded part, so it's going to be 1 over 10. And as words, this is going to be 0.1. Now to write that, I can say this is 1/10. Tenth, like that, without the s, because it is just one part. Now we forgot to write or to name that number, the 1.6. I can call it a 1 and 6 tenths. Do you see? I have 1, which is the whole number, that one, and 6 tenths is that 0.6. Okay, I hope you're okay until now, because I want you to test yourself and solve that one. I want you to write it as a fraction, as a decimal, and as words. Please pause the video now, answer that question on a paper, and then resume it and check your answer. Are you ready? Did you answer it? Let's do it. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I have 6 shaded parts out of 10. So as a decimal, this is going to be 0.6. And in words, I will say this is 6 tenths. Okay? Did you get it right? Good job. Let's continue. Now we have this mesh. Do you remember it? This is the other kind of numbers that we were working with. This mesh is a 100 square. If you count them, you will find 1, 2, 3. You will find a 100 square inside of it. So let's write also the decimals and the fractions. Here I have these two lines shaded. The one line is 10. To check that, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I have two of them, two lines. So this is 20 parts out of 100. Now as a decimal, this is going to be 0.20, like that. And in words, this is going to be 20 hundredths. So 20 hundredths is this number. Let's try to do the other one. Here I have 1, 2, and 3. I have here only 3 parts, 3 shaded parts out of the 100. So in decimals, this is going to be 0.03, and focus on that one because I have here only one number, which is the 3. And I must add that to the hundredths place. So this is going to be as 0.03. In words, I'm going to say this is 3 hundredths. So 3 hundredths is that number. Are you ready? Because I want you to test yourself now. Again, stop the video, try to answer this on a paper, and then resume it. Are you done? Let's try to solve this. Here I have one line, which is 10, 20, 30, 40, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 45 parts, shaded part out of 100. As a decimal, this is going to be 0.45, and in words, this is going to be 45 hundredths. So 45 hundredths. Let's do the other one. Here I have, this is a whole line, 10, 20, and these are 8. So here I have 28 parts out of 100. In decimal, 0.28, and in words, you're gonna say 28 hundredths. So 28 hundredths is this model. Now I want to again to test yourself. So again, pause the video and try to answer these and then resume. Are you done? Let's do it. So let's see how many shaded parts we have here. This is a line, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 2. So I have 82 shaded parts out of 100. In decimal, this is going to be 0.82, and in this word, we're gonna say 8 or 80, 82 hundredths. So 82 hundredths. What about this one? Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 shaded parts out of 100. So in as a decimal, this is going to be 0.06, and in words, this is going to be 6 hundredths. So 6 hundredths is this model. Now we're gonna do again the same thing that we just took, writing as a fractions and decimal, but this time without any models. So we will just read the sentence and try to answer them. Let's see, here I have 3 out of 10, meaning this is 3 parts out of 10, and in decimal this is going to be 0.3, and in words this is going to be 3 tenths. Okay, 3 tenths, because this is 3 out of 10. So 3 tenths. Now the other one, 8 out of 10. This is 8 parts out of 10. So again, 0.8. And in words, this is going to be 8 tenths. So 8 tenths. Now, next I have 17 out of 100, meaning I have 17 parts out of 100 parts, which is going to be equal to 0.17, and in words, this is going to be 17 tenths? No, 17 hundredths. All right. The last one here, I have 35 out of 100, meaning I have 35 shaded part out of 100 shaded part. As a decimal, this is 0.35, and in words, this is going to be 35 hundredths. 35 hundredths. Now I want you to test yourself. Write the fractions, the decimals, and the words for each one of these numbers. So, are you ready? Let's do it. Here I have 2 parts out of 100, meaning this is 2 parts out of 100. And as a decimal, this is a 0.02, because the 2 is out of 100. So I must add it in the hundredths place. And in words, this is going to be 2 hundredths. So 2 hundredths. Then I have 16 out of 100. So 16 over 100 as a decimal. This is a 0.16. and as words or in words, this is going to be 16 hundredths. 16 hundredths. Then I have 4 out of 10. So this is a 4 over 10 equals 0.4 in decimal, and in words this is going to be 4 tenths. So 4 tenths. And lastly, I have 99 over 100, which equals to 0.99 as a decimal, and in words this is going to be 99 hundredths. Okay, 99 hundredths. Alright, let's move to the other idea that we studied, which was about adding. So adding fractions and decimals. Now when I give you a problem like that, you need to take a look at the denominator. So here I have 10 down, and here also I have 10 down. Whenever you have the same number down, you are ready. You just need to add the numbers at the top. So here I have 1 plus 3, this is 4, and you will keep the number down, which is 10. So 4 over 10, you can write that as a decimal, 0.4, and you can read it as 4 tenths. Now the other one, I have 20 over 100 and 30 over 100. Since we have the 100 down for both of the numbers, then we will directly add. So 20 plus 30, this is 50. So 50 over 100, which is equal to 0.50, which we can read it as 50 hundredths. But what if I have sometimes one of them is 10 and the other one is 100? Also here, this is 100 and this is 10. Can I add directly just like I did before? Of course not. You need to have the denominators, both of them, the same number. So the thing that you can do here is to add a 0 here and a 0 here. When you do that, you will have down in the denominator both of the number 100, 100. So now you can add. Okay, so remember, sometimes you must add zeros. Now you have 50 plus 20, this is 70 over 100. Okay, so as a decimal, this is a 0.70. Also here, I have 44 over 100 and I have 1 over 10. So I must add a 0 here and a 0 here. So now I have 44 plus 10, this is 54 over 100. And now as a decimal, we can write that as 0.54, and we can read it as 54 hundredths. Okay, so remember, you must add zeros when you have one of the denominator at 10 and the other one is 100. Now I want you to test yourself. Stop the video and answer these questions. So are you done? Let's do that. Here I have 10, 10 down, so I'm ready to add. 4 plus 7, this is 11. 11 over 10, okay? Meaning this is more than 1. So 11 over 10, this is like a whole number, which is 10 over 10 plus 1 over 10. Do you remember that? We took that from before, from the first semester. Actually, the second semester. Here I have a 10 over 10. I told you, whenever I have up and down at the numerator and denominator the same number, this is a whole number 1. And that number 1 over 10 is 0.1. So when you add these numbers together, you will get 1.1. Okay, because this one is in the ones place and this 0.1 is in the tens place. Let's do the other one. Now here I have 22 over 100 and 40 over 100. Let's add directly because down in the denominator I have 100 and 100. So when I add, I will get 62 over 100, and that is going to be equal to 0.62, which is 62 hundredths. After that, here I have 1 over 10 and here 35 over 100. Of course, I can't do that because I have here a 10 and here 100. So I must add a 0 up and a 0 down so I can make the 10 100. Now we can add a 10 plus 35, this is 45, over 100, which is equal to 0.45, which is a 45 hundredths. What about this one? Also here I have 100 and here I have 10. I can't do it. I must add a 0 here and a 0 here. So 7 plus 2, this is 7 plus 2, this is 9. So this is 90 over 100. So 90 over 100 is 0.90, which is 90 hundredths. Okay? Now we just have the last idea on the lesson, or in the chapter actually, which is about comparing. Let's compare the numbers. How can I compare decimal numbers? Well, to compare these numbers, for example, here I have 0.5 and 0.6 or 5 tenths and 6 tenths. We will start comparing from the first number. Now in the whole number, which is the ones, I have 0, 0. So same thing. Now you need to move to the next number. Here I have 5 and here I have 6. So of course the 6 is bigger than the 5. So 0.6 is bigger than 0.5. After that I have here 0.30 and 0.3. I need you to focus on that one because here I have that number starts with a 0 and that one is a 0, starts with a 0. After that here I have a 3 and here I have a 3. So until now they both are the same thing. But after that here I have a 0 and here I have nothing. So which one is bigger, the 0 or the nothing? Of course, they are both of them the same thing. So 0.30 and 0.3 are equal to each other, meaning that when I have zeros come after the number in the decimal place, they don't really actually have a value. Just treat them like they are not exist. Even if I have, for example, 0.300, 0.3000, 0.30, 0.3, all of these zeros that you can see them here, they don't really have any value. So just treat them like they are not there, like they are not exist. So all of these numbers, all of these four numbers, if you can see them, that one 0.3, 0.30, 0.300, 0.3000, they all are equal to each other. So remember that, okay? Next, let's continue. Here I have 0.25 and 0.4. Please be careful with that one because I think you're gonna say, oh, this is 25, this is 4, oh, 25 is more. No, you must compare them each number at a time. So the number starts with a 0, same thing. Move to the next number. Here I have 2 and here I have 4. So which one is bigger, the 2 or the 4? Of course, the 4 is bigger. So 0.4 is more than 0.25. Okay? I need you to be careful. After that, here I have 0, 0, 1, 1. Then I have 2 and 3. So 2 or 3 is more. Of course, the 3 is more. So 0.13 is more than 0.12. I hope you got it. Now I need you to test yourself and compare these numbers. Stop the video and try to do it by yourself. So are you done? Let's compare. Here I have 0.2 and 0.3, so I must start comparing each number at a time. 0, 0, same thing. Move to the next number. 2 and 3, of course the 3 is bigger. Let's continue. Here I have 0, 0, same thing. Here I have 5 and here I have 3. So which one is bigger, the 5 or the 3? Of course, the 5 is bigger. So 0.5 is more than 0.33. After that, I have 0.67 and 0.47. So that number starts with a 0, 0, same thing. Here I have 6 and here I have 4. So 6 or 4 is bigger. Of course, the 6 is bigger. And lastly, I have 0.1, and here I have 0.10. I told you something very important about that. I told you that when you have zeros, they don't really have value after the decimal number. So here I have 0.1, 0.1, they are basically 0.1, both of them. So these numbers are equal to each other. Okay? Also, again, I want you to test yourself again with comparing, so let's do that. Stop the video and try to solve it by yourself. Are you done? Let's do it. Here I have 0.1 and 0.4. So here I have a 1 and a 4 in the 10th place. So of course the 4 is bigger. After that I have 0.80, which is 8. I will start with the 8, and here 0.33, so I will start with the 3. So 8 and 3, which one is bigger? Of course the 8 is bigger. After that I have 0.67 and 47. Here I have 6 and 4, so directly the 6 is bigger. And lastly I have 0.5 and 0.50. What do you think about one? Is the 50 more? No, they are equal to each other, because this 0 doesn't really have a value. Even if I have 500, 5,000, 500,000, they all are not exist. They don't really have a value. So the only number that have a value is the 0.5, and here also the 0.5. So these two numbers are equal to each other. I hope you like this video. I hope you find something interesting, and I hope that you remember the information that we took in this lesson, or actually in this chapter. We just have another part now, which is about money. So I need you to watch that after this video. Don't forget to leave a comment and a like, and see you in the next video.